District for this very unexpected and honor that they gave Sally Knives. It was not even on our radar, and we really appreciate it. Being in Virginia is a different experience for me. I was born a Democrat in a place called Brooklyn, and I started Grassroots in Brooklyn at the age of about 14. And just to show you what I'm talking about, one of my fondest memories is my mom coming home one day and saying to me, "Howard, guess who I ran into today? I ran into the Republican." This is true. She said, "And you know what? She's nice even though she is a Republican." And in those days, Republicans were nice. They were a respected party. They were a patriotic party, and I'm sorry to say, we can't say that anymore. We cannot say that anymore. I mean, we have a so-called representative in the 10th district, Frank Wolf, who doesn't represent us at all. He just votes for party line. votes to repeal health care, votes for against the president's jobs bill. And we need true representatives. Now, I'd like to just expand a little bit on what Sally said. I had this really shocking experience last November. And I want to emphasize how important your election protection committee is. And I'd like to point out Kristen Cabral here, one of the leaders of our election protection. It's really, really important. So during the last election, I had an election protection lawyer who was with us almost all day, but nothing was happening in McNair Precinct, number 237, which, by the way, is about 70% Democratic. And when I showed up that morning, I'm going to call this the story of Don, because Don is the name of the Republican chairman of that board. And do you know that because we have a Republican governor, every single precinct in Virginia is going to have a Republican chair? Is that right? I think it is right.
Election chief.
Election chief,
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Precinct chief.
And it's good to see you, Howard, and it was all friendly and everything. Following the dictates of what the Election Protection Committee put together, we opened the polls. It's very important. Take down the number on the machine. One thing we found is the flash drive on one of the machines, which was supposed to be secured by a plastic, was cut. It was actually cut.
Oh my
we
God.
just threw that to the side. It was a little distressing, and an hour later, actually, Fairfax County election officials said, "Oh, you can use this one," and we didn't. Even this chief didn't want to do that. So we went through the day. I sent our lawyer home because we didn't need him, we thought. Now, please listen. When it came time to count votes, you're allowed to sit there. You're allowed to observe, and a lot of us are intimidated by asking questions. But please, don't be intimidated. And as they're counting the vote, first of all, we picked the two least experienced board workers to count the votes. These two had never counted votes before. And they were counting them. I'm noticing some strange things, like they started to count the votes to the machine that wasn't being used, and some strange things were happening, and I said, "What's going on here?" He said, "Don't worry about it. At the end, it'll be okay." And they counted the votes, and they called in the votes, and I'm still thinking, am I crazy here? Because what I noticed was, even these were school board mostly elections, and even candidates who weren't opposed, or if there were two candidates together, it never ran it up close to the total number of votes. We were short a couple hundred votes. So I got a whole, that night I showed my fellow Democrats, I did a sanity check. I think most of them thought I was not sane.
No, I believe you.
Come down to Fairfax County the next day where we have canvases. And I think all the counties here do that. That is so important. I went down to the canvas, I showed the chief what was going on, and he put his two best people on it. And it turns out that person had not counted an entire voting machine. 39% of the votes were not counted. So not only are they trying to suppress the votes, but if any of us Democrats are sneaky enough to get in, they're trying not to count the votes. And I urge you all, as Sally said, please sign up for training, make sure there are Democrats on that board, and let's save this election for the president.